Alright guys, today I'm going to be cleaning up this work area. It's got wires everywhere. It's got 3 computers hooked to a KVM switch, which makes a mess back there. This is where I do my video mix downs, where I do my day job, and obviously where I entertain cats whenever they feel like being here. So yeah, that's why the platform's here. That's why that's going to have to be incorporated into the project as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of what we don't absolutely need on here so we have room to work. Rub the cat for some magic and poof, and done. I wish it was that easy, but I took out the boring part. Now what I'm going to do with this area is I'm going to organize it as cheaply as possible. I'm just going to use some scrap wood that I have laying around, most likely a piece of plywood and maybe some heavier duty supports. It doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to be functional, but we'll see what comes out of it. And just so you know, I've only got a basic idea in my head to start off with. So this was the original stand. The measurements are going to be very similar. This top piece was unnecessary. It gave it extra lift, so I'm going to be removing the extra space in there and the bottom platform. This should bring the monitor down by about 1.5 inches from where it was previously. But having this saves me a lot of time measuring. After scavenging around the workshop, I came up with this pile of plywood, just random bits and pieces. You might even recognize some of it from some of the other videos. I'm hoping to get most of the build out of this. Alright, I decided I'm going to keep these cherry supports because they do the job just fine and they look nice. And they look nicer than the rest of the build. So I'm going to disassemble this, I'm going to repurpose the bottom most likely, and the sides here are good measurements for how tall it needs to be for the monitor.
It's rare when everything actually goes right. This is no exception. I broke off the head of a screw while taking this apart. As far as problems go, this wasn't too bad. When I was disassembling this, I noticed that the bottom of these arms didn't have a square cut on them, so I'm going to shave just a little bit off to square them up. Remember, when I was disassembling the original stand, I saved the legs because they were already the right size. That makes measuring these sidewalls a lot easier. Because I'm still not sure what I want my final product to look like, I may or may not need more cuts at this length. So I'm going to put this piece of scrap down, that way I don't need to measure the next time I need to cut this exact length. It looks like there may have been a wood chip or something between my board and the backer, so one of my cuts was just off square. So I'm going to adjust my block just a little bit so that I can make the cut square. Now that my upright supports are cut, I need to place them at the right width. My goal is to have the rubber feet of the laptop resting in the center of these wooden arms. I have the placement on the boards, but the top of the board is much too wide. I want to keep the depth for support, so I'm going to cut like a wave from the top to the bottom. The upright supports are cut out now, so I need to figure out how far out these arms need to extend from the base to support the laptop. I noticed the screws peek through just a little bit on the other side, so I'm going to sand those down with the orbital. Up until now, I've been putting my markings on the side I want to use as the top, so I need to transfer these markings to the bottom. Normally it wouldn't be too big of a deal if I didn't hit dead center, but I want to make sure these arms for the laptop are in exactly the right position. Now I'm going to add a shelf, both for support for the legs and because I need a place to put my KVM switch. Nope, I did not just fling the board at the camera. You saw nothing. I'll give you a spoiler. What I'm doing right now is I'm making a mistake. The theory is I'm going to line up the laptop so that it's flush with this shelf, and it looks real nice when the laptop's closed. We'll get back to this later. In case you're wondering what all this drawing is, the board that I'm using for the shelf is only a ½ inch thick, so there's not a lot of room for error. These lines will show me where the board is on the other side. Sanding is monotonous and boring, but I've got more splinters off of plywood than any solid wood.
Alright, step one of the build is done. I could actually work like this, but this isn't anywhere close to my final vision. So we're going to keep going.
To make this shelf at the height I want it, I'm going to need to cut off this corner so it doesn't interfere with the laptop.
Alright, I thought now would be a good time to chime in some of my thoughts. Originally I was going to make this side piece a part of the main unit, but I thought if I ever need to reorganize it, it'd be much easier if I made it separate. I did not put the uprights all the way out at the edge because one side has the arm coming out for the laptop, and the other side is going to have the big storage unit on top of it. And it also has that curve in the desk behind it. So I've recessed it a bit so that it can go under the storage unit. It'll support it there and it won't have as much gap behind it where that curve is in the desk. So I got one more thing I want to do to this side before I finish it up and move on to the other side. So off camera I started cleaning up some of the cords and getting this thing ready to go. And a mistake came to light. Where this shelf is here, although it's nice that it goes flush with the laptop also needs to have cords plugged in at that spot. So I need to make a 2-inch cut in this area to allow for the cords. So that's what we're going to fix while the glue's drying.
that problem fixed, it's back to the other shelf.
Fuzzy Bear approved. Alright, we're almost there. This side is complete. I like it the way it is. A lot more storage. Cords are behind things and wrapped. Now I just want to make a little shelf for the other side and be done. Okay, my main goal is complete. The desk is organized. The only thing left that I have to do is modify one of the existing pieces. And that's this guy.
You see, with that platform, every time I needed to get to the keyboard, I had to remove the platform, and I think I figured out a way around this. Cleanest the desk has looked in a long time.
Got my storage underneath here. All the wires are taken care of.
And my little platform here, if the cats refuse to move,
I can still type.
I'd say it was a successful day.